seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes, here we go, the T.N.F, and it is a different format tonight because I have got the face, or the other face of nostalgia. I've got the Liam, the punk duck warlord on with me. Liam, how the fuck are you, mate? How are you doing?
I'm great. Good, Russell. Yeah, really good. Nice
Good to have you on, mate.
I'm at a nice time in the afternoon to do this, so it's good.
Aye. Good man. And obviously tonight's the night where you're not even the co-driver, mate, because it's the passengers who drive the bus on a Thursday, Liam. So we're going to be taking everyone's points tonight. We'll do a couple of sort of points that me and you have discussed prior to the show, and then we'll get stuck in with the comments. And if you have got a burning topic of discussion you want to bring up, save it for the first 10-15 minutes and then bring them in, and me and Liam will really look forward to chewing the fat over them as well. If my eyes look a wee bit bloodshot, then you wouldn't be wrong. I remember saying at the end of last night's show about my cat, he died. He didn't make it, sadly. So it was a tough day, Liam. But do you know, it's weird because I'm not sitting blowing trumpet about it, but you find out if you're a man or not at times in life, Liam, in the strangest circumstances ever. And today, wee Big Ear of my cat proved that I can be braver than I thought I was capable of, if that makes sense. But although he made me greet like a Wayne at times, sadly he passed away. So dedicate the show to him, I suppose. That would be the easiest thing to do. Brilliant to see so many of you on the bus, though. I appreciate it. It is the T.N.F show, the Thursday night forum. We've been doing this for a long time. I don't know what episode we're up to. It's been a while that we've been doing this sort of format. I really enjoy it. Liam, is this your first T.N.F? Could it be? You're on mute. You're on mute. I think you're on mute. Is he on mute? Are you on mute? Say all that again.
We started at the street sweeper go by. I didn't want to spoil that moment there, so I turned it off. But this is my first Thursday night one. I've done a Friday, I've done a Saturday, and then plenty of the other ones. And then I love doing my thing with Phil, where we try and see if we can break the record for the longest podcasts ever.
I know. Well, we've got exciting news about nostalgia, by the way, as well. I get paid, obviously, at the end of the month, and there's been a decision made at Boise Bus HQ. Now, it's limited funds we've got here, right? And it needs to be a bus that is self-sufficient, but we're going to take the plunge. We're going to invest further in our audio podcast library, which means a higher rental each month. But what you're going to get out of that, guys, is the full nostalgia series is going to become an audio podcast. I'm going to upload every one of those 2-hour episodes all at once. And I think as an audio, it's great that we've now got it in like sort of nostalgia's kind of got mini series as well, Liam, as you're well aware. Like we're in Martin O'Neill month right now, for example. We've got the wee solo player ones where we've done Lubo, we've done Sati. And I think it'll be really, really cool now that we've got a lot of episodes there for Nostalgia to have its own section. If you go into like your Spotify, your iTunes, and Nostalgia will have its own section under the Boise Bus. And for the first time, will become an audio download. All at the end of this month, we'll upload all the episodes. And I think people will get totally immersed and lost in it, mate, because it deserves that. It deserves that sort of platform. It was just because you're only allowed a certain amount of hours when you have the limited speaker that I use. So we will invest further. And it's because of you guys, all the ad revenue that comes in. I mean, all the ad revenue, the pennies of ad revenue that come in. And of course, the members on here, what we're going to do is try and constantly reinvest it into the channel. And we've done it in loads of wee ways that people might not be aware of, but new webcams and microphones and stuff like that. We even bought Liam that studio behind him, but we're keeping that in the QT there. But aye, we're going to bring Nostalgia as an audio, but the full thing is going to go up. And I think people will get completely immersed and lost in it. And brilliant for Phil as well, because he thoroughly deserves it. He's brought so much to the bus. And Liam, what an addition. You've been to Nostalgia. So I'm the lucky one getting you to join me for the T.N.F tonight, mate, because usually it's you and Phil are you're the tag team, mate, that everyone wants to be.
Oh, mate, I really enjoy it, especially this month as well, the O'Neill years. Like, I don't know, I'm a bit older than everybody. My years should be the McStay or even the Dalglish years, but I don't know, something about, but I think I said it before on the buses, because that's when I had my wee boy, and he was young then, so I was also seeing Celtic through his eyes, and that, you know, to see is like guys like Larson and Petrov, him being half Bulgarian, my son, right? Like, that was a player, you know, and so for us, that was always a special time for me, and tomorrow we're doing the Seville season. But I don't want to tell you how it ends.
Well, mate, I'll be on tomorrow night with you. There's no way any episode of the Martin O'Neill month I'm missing. And believe it or not, you've got double trouble tomorrow, Liam, because my wee brother Jonathan's joining us as well. So it's the Boise Bros and Liam and Phil. So that'll be brilliant, though, won't we? You know, these shows have been a joy. And you need to remember as well, I mean, for the chat, and I don't like to be overly self-indulgent with all this shite, right? Because it's not even me who does it, it's Phil. So I'm not being self-indulgent. But for the Boise Bus, we're only 10 months in, right? And we're going to hit 3,000 subscribers, baby, before that 12-month mark. I can feel it. We're 95 away, I think, right now. Right. We'll hit that before the year's up, before the first 12 months are up. But for us to have a concept show in that time already that gets the numbers that it does, I think that is like dream stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was meant to go, right, let's try it. It's a concept show. We'll see how it does. For it to have flown, mate, and by the way, could I say it's got, I think, even stronger since you've became a regular on it. That was my idea, by the way. That was my idea. But I do think, I think it has took it, because I think Phil, he's now got someone, you know what I mean, that he can go back and forth with. There's that rapport, that chemistry there now. And I think you love it as well. You love going back over the old Celtic years. It's so much fun, isn't it?
Phil does so much research as well. The stuff that it takes you doing tunnels the night before. So my Thursday night's a write-off, because Phil sends us all a wee sort of press package that we look at and that, and he's done brilliant research, and sometimes his videos, and so I look forward to it on a Thursday night. It's like, that's my telly on a Thursday night. By the time I get up, doing my Boise Bus homework, still doesn't help me, you know.
me neither.
You know, I'll give you the daft perspective or the Canadian perspective, but because I watched that in Toronto. And I know so many friends from Toronto, Vancouver, all that all went over to Seville as well. So there was people booking their flights as soon as those games ended. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. What are we going to talk about tonight, Russell?
We are going to have a few talking points tonight, because we are going to obviously quickly reflect on last night, Liam. I think it was a result to be celebrated, by the way. As far as I'm concerned, 10 goals in the space of 4 days. Celtic's back, baby. It's that simple. Certainly on the domestic front. So we'll quickly look at that. We're going to then look at the upcoming VAR, and obviously the drama it's going to bring, as far as I'm concerned. And I think I'll quickly give you the wee title of it is, could this become almost tainted like the COVID season? This will be now known as the VAR season. I could see all this already happening. Also, we are then going to look at Hibs and their ticket structuring. 33 years since they sold out as quick as what they just have. Is it ticket pricing that maybe should be getting used across the board? Could our product be more sellable if we took the plunge and reduced the ridiculous prices they're on just now and copied something like the German model, which we all know get crazy crowds? Big shout out to Feed the Bear. Hail, hail, boys, say. And he's donated $4.99. Thank you so much, mate. Means the world. Matthew Duff. I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. Tough day today, but I'm glad I've got the bus almost. You know that, Liam? See, sometimes it's easy to sit and wallow when you're upset about stuff. And I was proper upset today, but I thought, the easy decision would be just don't do the show tonight. Do you know what I mean? But the better decision is channel your energies, Boise. Get back on the bus and do what I think we do absolutely best, and that is talk and properly debate football. We're getting a lot of. There's a boy. I'm going to make him famous for 2 minutes because I know he'll be watching. There's a boy called Sean Lynch, right? Who's continually commenting post-show that this is an echo chamber and there's only one hymn sheet, and whatever my opinion is, everyone else follows. I mean, Liam, you've known me a good number of months right now. I've not got the audacity, mate, to tell you what you think about Celtic. You've watched them and followed them far longer than I have. In fact, I would like to say the reason you found the bus so refreshing in the beginning was because it engages debate. We're all for that. There is no echo chamber here. This is not something that I think I'm the oracle on Celtic or my views are more important than others. It's actually far from it. What I like to do sometimes is play devil's advocate and try and see if you can actually open your mind to a different way of thinking, even if you think you're staunch that Juranovic is the best right back. Well, what about Ralston? Look at it. I like these debates. Certainly not one hymn sheet. Absolutely not. We do what we can. A big shout out as well to our resident Rangers supporters. I know Bob McBob's in the comments, and also the Blue Barn, who's donated £5 as well. He says, will you be willing to put an elephant emoji in your video titles to show your support for the Save the Elephants campaign?
Why?
If you want, mate, I'm all for it. Absolutely. But anyway, we'll crack on. Liam, takeaways from last night. It was the League Cup, so it's not. I still believe when we look at priorities of competition, Liam, it's bottom of the list. However, I'm telling you now, there is outright panic and chaos. If not that chaos, if we were to exit the competition. So the fact we've went away from home, convincingly won 4-0, up to 10 goals in the space of 4 days. Do you subscribe to the fact Celtic are back?
We are a team that thrives on momentum, just like the bus and speed. We can't go below 50. When we go below 50, bad things happen. So we always have to be like scoring goals, going. And I think anytime we get that minor setback, it takes us a wee bit to get back up to speed again, get that momentum. But I think what you seen last night is I saw you had players that came on that might be a little bit hungry for their places as well. I think Abada, having seen what Forrest did, I was surprised Forrest didn't get a start, but
we all were, mate. We all were.
No,
Poor bastard. He didn't even get 5 minutes.
I know, right? He showed up on the bench, sitting next to McGregor. That's how far down the line he was. He was next to McGregor.
That is cold. That is cold, like, you know what I mean? B. James is doing every media interview. 100 goals, legend of the club. What a great wee guy. You're dropped, mate. You need to get back. You need to get off the bench. I'll play Giacomakis with one leg instead of you.
I thought our goals were well developed. I thought it was good. It was 4 different types of goals. They weren't the ones we usually get. Some of them were a wee bit scrambly. Hatate's was just filthy. I mean, that boy's still looking for his boots and his gloves and the way he moved his feet so fast.
That was like a 7-a-side game. Someone's just taking the piss. Or a 5-a-side even. Someone's just taking the piss. That's what that goal was like.
Well, it looked like those guys that play that foosball, right? With a really quick, it was like that quick one to his left and just in, and it was just okay. And what really impressed me was this turn as well. The way he turned that defender was in front of him, and he managed to get in front of him and then turn the ball and then do that wee move. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. I thought Abada played good, 2 goals despite doing nothing else.
I think he's going to be one. I think he's a number cruncher, though. That's maybe my new term. That's my new name for him. Abada, the number cruncher. I quite like that because, again, we were speaking about it last night. if he's got a one-on-one, he's got loads of time to think about dribbling past someone. He can't dribble by them. If he's got loads of time on a one-on-one with a goalkeeper, he's got 3 touches to take, then shoot, he'll miss. Give him no time. Give him no thought space. Goals. And his numbers are a joke, particularly for a player that young. You need to start thinking, because he was signed as a £3.5 million buy, Liam, he's probably not judged the same way. If this was a Celtic youth coming through, for example, at 20 last season, well, 19 last season, turned 20, I think, on his 20th birthday, I think he scored against Aberdeen. I'm sure it was. And then this year he's just turned 21. How many goals he scored for Celtic now combined in that 16, 17 months? Let's be honest.
He's a co-leader right now with him and Kyogo both have 8 goals each.
And yeah, neither feel like they're having a great season.
No, they look quiet, you know. I think that's one good thing I really like about our team now is we do spread the goals around the team. We don't, you know, commit to like one player, and then like the fact that, you know, both Kyogo and even, you know, when we added to a certain extent went off the boil and one who's scoring goals for a while. Well, you know, it just shows there was other people to step up and fill that gap. And
absolutely,
anyway, I thought those are always discovery sessions when we play in cups like that. So I go on with a more relaxed attitude. You're right, I'd be raging if we got knocked out, but I really like to see, okay, so show me who's on the peripheral right now. So I thought Siegrist handled it well last night.
Yeah.
There's a bit of squeaky bum stuff at the beginning when they were passing the ball a bit, but I remember there was one play where they just carved open a channel for the left back position. That was just beautiful. It managed to turn into an attack for us, which I thought was really good. And that came for Siegrist was part of the players that helped develop that. And I think Matt O'Reilly needs to get a bit of credit as well for. I can see him slowly adapting to that position. I can see what
I think. I fucking love it. I fucking love Matt O'Reilly in that position. Do you know this is what I think I was touching on this the other night, right? See the responsibility and the maturity that boy is showing. He's 21 or 20, maybe 22 now. Like, he came to MK Dons. He couldn't get a game at Fulham, so he went to MK Dons, even though Fulham are desperate to keep him. So he kind of knew his worth.
Aye.
But to come into Celtic's a different stratosphere, right? A different stratosphere. This boy's not been at Celtic for a year, and yet there's the captain, the irreplaceable captain's position, and we're trusting you to play in that role. Even though Aaron Moy's meant to be the number 6, and is probably playing more like a number 6 in the number 8 role, Matt O'Reilly's the guy who's trusted deep in that midfield with that responsibility. And I don't know if you've noticed this, he is talking, mate, on the pitch tenfold since he's done this change. Since Callum McGregor went out, look at him offering Matt O'Reilly. He's talking to players all the time. I think we're going to watch him develop into a serious player. And it's not always about how long can we keep a hold of him. I think sometimes as well, Liam, you see when players like Matt O'Reilly get, you know, for want of a better expression, their balls tickled by Celtic and they go, do you know what? We're going to give you more responsibility already. I think that makes them go, do you know what? I like it here. Because it's like if you get a job and you might get to, I don't know, you're in a call centre, for example, you're on the phones, and then you get to floor walk at one point, you know what I mean? And you're helping the folk above, and then you might get a wee like stint covering as manager, you know what I mean? Covering the team. And it's like for Matt O'Reilly's trajectory to be that quick at a club that is on a different, as I say, a different universe from where he's been before in terms of stature and size. I think not Callum McGregor. I think Matt O'Reilly will be looking at this going, they like me here, they respect me. Like, and my career's only went this way. I'm now in the Danish under-21s, knocking on the door of their full squad, and that is some team these days, by the way. The Denmark national squad's no mugs. He would never have got that recognition elsewhere. So I think O'Reilly's sort of his growth since he joined, you've got to give kudos to the manager on that one as well, Liam. I know there's a bit of fortune in the fact that obviously Carmack's injury, so that like it's through default that he's got the chance. But I think Andrew's also going, look, this is how much I trust you. And I think players love that. I think they warm to that, don't they?
I think he's very similar to another player we got for Fulham as well that came here with a very definitive game plan of what he wanted to achieve and where he wanted to go and how he wanted to develop through Celtic. That was Moussa Dembele. You know, he also came out of that Fulham way as well.
So Jens
as well.
Jens and O'Reilly are bestos.
Aye. So, I mean, it's good to see. Like, what I really like about O'Reilly is he seems to have his head screwed on. You know, you can't see him doing a daft, Gary Hooper or like somebody, want to go to England right away and test himself. I can see him want to be more of a finished article. He's got to have to leave here much better than he came for that to be a success for him. And I think he's got his family and all that. Like, I mean, his mum and dad and all that all living in Glasgow and supporting him.
Oh, wow.
So I think that makes it easier as well to have more roots when you're a young guy like that as well.
I think the world's changed though, Liam, right? Obviously, you've told us many a time, you spend half your life in Bulgaria, half your life in Vancouver. You're obviously Scottish. Like, see, for me, it'd be an adventure at that age, right? And I don't know. I think sometimes you need to look at the new generation and you go, you're right. It's a big deal moving to Glasgow. Now, these guys, I don't feel that sorry for them because they're paid a fucking fortune, right? Let's be honest, right? He's going to be all right for life probably already. However, I think with younger players, they're not built of the same, how do you describe it? The same substance, I don't think, as years gone by, and not even that many years gone by. I think it is quite daunting for a lot of younger players these days. I think it is harder for young guys to put themselves out of their small pond, big fish, small pond mentality into the ocean as a wee tadpole. And I think Matt O'Reilly's, he deserves a lot of credit, mate, for how he's took to Celtic, because I think I said at the time, if Neil Lennon the year before had signed a guy in January in a title race, which we were in, we were only 2 points clear, I think, when Matt O'Reilly joined. 2 points clear, or 1 point clear it might have been. And Matt O'Reilly joins for MK Dons for $1.5 million. Well, sorry. I think folk are going, fuck off. How's that going to help? This board's everyone's shafting us here. Look what he's done. Look how well he's done. I think he's an absolute success story. Do I think it can be the norm? No. I think Celtic have won a watch with him a bit, but also what they did was they were very proactive in signing Matt O'Reilly. So there was a big story that went about at the time, Liam, about O'Reilly, right? That he was apparently on Liverpool's radar, and the reason was across all the leagues, he topped the stats for more stats than anyone else in terms of, I don't know what you would want to call it, key passes, XG, all that sort of nonsense. But put it this way, he was on the big boys' radar because of how big an impression he'd made in 5 months in League One. I think Celtic acted very shrewdly in getting him in.
So I'd like to see him. I'd like to see our people work with him on his pace and also his shooting as well. When he first came to us, he had a bit of a shot and he sort of pulled that away from his game. I know he's in a different position right now, but I like that twist and shoot attitude that he had when he first came here. It was nowhere near as crazy as a Ryan Christie. See the net and just shoot. It was miserable. And I thought
he was told to do that though, mind.
No, I know, but
I think Lennon just went, "You're good at shooting. Shoot on sight." Because I'm sure Christie said it in an interview. He goes, "No, I've been told to shoot on sight."
I know, but you were told to shoot at the fucking. Oh, sorry, you were told to shoot at the net. Shoot at the goal. Don't shoot into the crowd.
Lennon's like, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean just shoot for the moon. See, when I say shoot for the stars, that's my motivational speech. When I say shoot for the stars, I don't mean literally. I mean, Lennon must have obviously managers, right? They take from their managers who were their managers before. We were talking about it the other week. Remember the Brian Clough, Martin O'Neill, sort of how similar. And I always think Lennon's put downs at times. We were talking about it last night. You don't remember about Mikey Johnson?
I watched it last night.
Fuck off. The best one. But you're going, I know O'Neill's done that to him, but O'Neill doesn't do it on the bench. O'Neill's done it in the dressing room. Do you know what I mean? I'll tell you a wee quote for Lennon's book, right? But I read this. It's supposed to be when I was about 21. Lennon was a hero of mine. I loved it. He released a book when he was only 30. He was one of the first footballers. Now they're all coming out and telling you about their mental health issues, and I don't doubt all the authenticity. But what Lennon was doing it back then when he was still a Celtic player, and saying about playing at Ibrox. Remember, he said he played at Ibrox and the game passed him by, Liam. The game had passed him by. We won 1-0. Fuck knows how, because I can't remember any of it. Because he was in a hole. Just in a complete hole. You think what Ibrox is like, particularly if you're Neil Lennon, for that to be passing you by. Anyway, he said in his book, he says, when Neil took him into his office, and he goes, it's never good when Martin, the gaffer calls in his office. He doesn't speak to anyone who knows, he brings you in and he goes, all right, why'd you do it? That's how he opened the conversation. Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? I sound the klaxon, by the way. Sorry. Hey! And Lennon's like, why did I do what? And he goes, why'd you dye your fucking hair that colour? And Lennon goes, I want to be different. I want to be different from everyone else. And he goes, different? You want to be different? Score a fucking goal on Saturday. Because obviously I think Lennon famously scored 6 goals for Celtic in that whole time? In 7 years? Aye, but I think that part like that's good. We've digressed already, Liam, which it can happen, mate. It can happen. I'm an emotional wreck today, so I'm just rolling with the punches, man. Right. We were also going to talk about, though, VAR. It all begins this weekend. Liam, I think we are on the verge of a soap opera. I think we love the idea of putting asterisks beside titles and stuff. I'm genuinely telling you, I think, see, there was chat in our WhatsApp group chat today. Apparently, there's only a lower part of the goal that's going to have a camera at one end, and then the upper part of the goal at the other end. So you're not even, there's only 6 cameras. The English Premier League has 33. This is like quick save, no frills, VAR. That is what this is. It's not even Tesco value. Remember quick save? I think it's like they're no frills, VAR. I know it costs the clubs a lot of money, but I think we need to be real here. This isn't the, can you still hear me okay? I don't know if I've frozen. I don't know if Liam's frozen. Hello. I hope I've not frozen. I think it's you, Liam. Anyway, the VAR situation, you're back. The VAR situation, though, strikes me as something like the talking point we need to deflect from bad results. That's what this is about to become. I don't subscribe to the fact it's going to be all Rangers-minded, everything that happens, right? But the one thing I do think is we've got a body of evidence to suggest the referees that are currently running our game, Liam, aren't good enough. Why on earth are they going to be any better when they've got a telly in front of them? It's the same. It's the lunatics running. Usually it's one lunatic running the asylum. Now we've got 3 more lunatics running the asylum. This is VAR flew over the cuckoo's nest. That is the territory we've now entered.
And look who's looking at the VAR. This is an independent body. It's their brethren. It's their brotherhood that are all looking after each other. Guys that are refereeing and still linesmen with each other. So I'm wondering, are they going to be using this to dig each other out a hole when somebody sees like Don Robertson ignoring a rugby tackle on a halfway line in the Rangers game, and then just playing, look at that, is the guy behind VAR knowing that that's maybe like the guy that ran the line for him the previous week, or McLean, or will they call him that? Is he going to look at that and help a brother out? I'll help you out here.
It's
because they've got to stick together. I would have liked it to have been maybe an outside committee to come in that would referees these guys. So
Liam, wait, let me tell you. So, see the Champions League VAR?
Aye.
No one knows who runs it, mate, right? This is one thing I'm going to give you an example on. It's only in Scotland. Already are we in a situation where Willie Collum announced as the VAR referee for Celtic's first game under VAR. I'm like, I'm not trying to protect these guys, but I'm also going, surely, I don't even think in England they tell you who the ex-officials or current officials are that are running the VAR. Scotland's trying to be transparent, but all it's done is like, wait now, 6 cameras. You're telling us it's the same inept referees right now.
Aye.
All you've done is open up a can of worms of excuses now. And paranoia will rip. And I get your point. There's loads of reasons why Celtic could go, well, it won't work in our favour. It fucking won't. But I also think the other way around as well, that this will then it'll dilute whoever wins this title. That is what I think. Even if we win it, I think the other side will go, aye, because of that decision there. And they'll probably have grounds to base it on. Do you know what I mean? Where they'll go, well, there was that one last week that they let away. They let go. And then there's this one this week they didn't let go. There's no consistency in VAR. But now we know who they are. They're all going to help hold them all to account. This, to me, strikes me as, remember was it the compliance officer? Is that she was called a couple of years ago? That was like a compliance officer season. I think it was 2018-19. And it was everything. And she got targeted for everything. I just think VAR's going to, this is now has entered that.
Well, that was the season that Morelos was stamping on everybody and like swinging everybody about. And, you know, like he was always up in front of the compliance commissioner. And he got it a couple of times, but there was so much stuff he got away with. And then I remember I think it was Ryan Christie that got like a 2-game suspension for trying to get away from a guy, swings his arm back, hits Morelos in the balls, but it's not like Hatate getting elbowed in the face the other night or anything like that. It just seems something that happens in a football game. You're moving to go away. And honestly, somebody hitting the balls that hard, come on, get over it. You're still going to be able to win. You know, you don't fall to the ground. And he got too much. They went back and they looked at that one retrospectively with a compliance officer and they got a ban. Do
you remember when VAR began? It was at I think it was the World Cup 2018. Right. And I think it was within the second or third game I'd watched televised, right? In the first few days. And I watch a player doing this to the ref.
Aye.
He's doing that. And I'm going, see, this is now. I can see this in Scotland now. Hey, VAR at you prick. Well, to my 6 cameras. All right, we better do that. I don't even know how it works. Willie Collum up there. Do you know how this works? I get Willie Collum on. And just players like just BAMs who know that they're offside. Just VAR at all. I can see it coming in now. I think we're about to enter a circus that, yes, it's necessary, right? Because Scottish football is a joke as the 8th best in the coefficient at this moment in time if it doesn't have VAR, because we're getting left behind. But when you actually look at this type of VAR they've brought in and the guys running it, it's a tick box exercise. It's virtue signaling to FIFA or the other UEFA clubs that, oh, see, look, we're doing the same things as you guys. We're not at all. This is like, it's not even VAR light, LITE. It's like, as I say, quick saves, no frills, VAR. It is you know what I mean? It's like the yellow label. Getting the reduced price VAR that was going out of date. That's the one we've just got for Scottish football. It is completely different to what we're as football fans. When you watch games from other competitions, this is not the VAR we're about to be introducing. And I think folk need to get very much prepared for a hell of a lot of controversy, conflict, debate coming, all based on this. I think it's going to be a disaster, I'll be honest.
I mean, I think it's just everybody that's got any sense of paranoia in them right now is like, you're unhinged right now because you feel, aye, this is just ready to land. This is all ready to land. You can just tell. But I don't know.
The script's ready.
See how it is. But I'd be willing, if we put a poll, do you think we'll get a goal awarded to us or a goal chalked off to us first? We're going to get, they'll be looking to get rid of our goals. You know, and I wonder how many goals will get chalked off.
This is what's going to be the interesting part, right? What they decide as like that was VAR worthy, if you like, Liam, right? Right. Like Jen's just got absolutely fouled off the ball there. That's why that Rangers player went through. Yeah, but it was actually in phase 1 of the play. It was phase 2 that Rangers scored, so it doesn't actually count. I can hear all this pish coming. I don't like to go down the road that you are, no offense. I think it'll be open sesame for all clubs, mate, right? To take their angles, right? Not just us. We can only say from our prism, and I get that. But I think they're inept. I don't think they're good enough to be able to run a bath, let alone run 6 cameras. I think they're good enough when they're on the pitch. I don't understand how it's It's the reason we need VAR is because you're hopeless. Right. So who's going to run VAR? My hopeless pals.
Do we get Liz
Strange
Truss
answer.
available? Liz Truss is available. Maybe we can get her.
By the way, I don't like talking about politics, right? I know that. But see, with the Tories, I like to make a football relation. I mean, are we entering into the banter years? That's it. See if Pedro Casino is the next Prime Minister.
I know. Sam Allardyce will come and take it over.
Pedro Casino showed up in a caravan up to number 10. What's happening? But it does feel like this is the banter years for the Tory party. But we'll move away from the politics. Not really my bad. I fucking hate them all. I think they're all like, you're voting for liars. They're all lying bastards.
So, Russell, see with the VAR, have we got the super slow-mo? Because I don't think we do.
We've got 6 cameras, mate. I would be amazed if we've got super slow-mo.
Because you need a phantom camera for that. Like, it's 1,200 frames a second. You know, and that's how you can see all these increments, and judge it when the ball is kicked and that. But I don't know. I don't know how that will help us as well, because it will mean they're looking at the same sort of highlights as, we usually see as well, and they can never make their mind on that either. I know. It'd be good for super scoreboard, I
like this with Charles Smith. I can't wait to see how they draw the offside lines with the crayons. Stephen Thompson on Sports Scene with a Crayola. Onside Morelos, you know what I mean? No, that's his belly, mate, that you're covering it there, not his fucking. Anyway, we also want to talk about the positives of Scottish football. And we are seeing it with Hibs right now, Liam. Now, this one's very interesting to me because I don't know how Celtic related it is when Celtic have sold out the season ticket allocation again this year. And to be fair, sell out to a man almost every home game this season. But and that's credit to Ange, by the way. He must take a lot of satisfaction in that. When he looks at Celtic's recent history, and we've all been treated to that recently, Liam, by James Forrest's 100 goals. So I don't know if you've noticed how many of those games are in front of green seats.
That's right.
A lot of green seats. You watch these 100 goals, and I'm like, fucking hell, there's need to there that day. That must have been Scottish Cup. Or it must have been League Cup. And then you're like, no, that was a Premier League game. Fucking. And just managed to get 60,000 bums on seats, mate. And if the season ticket holders aren't always there, that's their gift. They've paid for the seat, right? But on the whole, Celtic Park has never been busier. So this point I'm going to make maybe isn't as poignant with Celtic at this moment in time, but we operate in a league, Liam, that has just done a deal with this TV broadcaster based on, obviously, how the last few years have went with them. They've decided to jump on board early. They've done it for a fee that slightly increases the revenue for each club, around £400,000 to £500,000 a year for most SPFL clubs. Hell of a lot of money to the rest of our clubs, of course. But Hibs do something different this weekend. They've decided they're going to do, I think it's either £5 or £10 a ticket. Someone correct me in the comments. But they've drastically reduced it. It's a sellout at home to St Johnstone. The first time in 33 years they've either sold out or sold out this quick. Now, when it's St Johnstone at home and you're doing that, that tells you it's not the competition you're against. It certainly ain't Lee Johnson's the cut of his jib because he's a fanny, right? So it must be the pricing is appealing. Now you look to the Bundesliga. Well, Alan McInally once played in Germany, in Bayern, in München. And you look at their ticket prices, they're way cheaper than a lot of these countries' full grounds. Now, the reason I mentioned the TV deal with all this, Liam, people might think I'm on a different stratosphere here, but I'm not, because I'll tie it all in. Your TV deal could be better if the coverage you've done over the last 3 years, if you're Mr. Sky, has been full stands. Now, could it be that the reason a lot of these stands haven't been full isn't because there isn't a need for it or a want for it? Is it because the average football fan's been priced out at 33 years, Liam? Hibs haven't sold out this quick. They reduced the prices drastically. There's the result. If that happens across the board, wow, our league becomes, again, will top the charts in Europe for person per head, which I know we love celebrating, but really it's because of Celtic and Rangers, that nonsense. But let's imagine, I want to go to Easter Road and it be sold out. I want to go to Motherwell and it's sold out. I don't want to see the stands empty behind the goal first half that I seen last night. If you don't want Celtic fans in there, that's fine. It's your stadium. It's your gift to do what you want. We'll make it appealing for that stand to be sold out. Is this a forward way thinking, or is it just a one-off virtue signaling exercise by Hibs to try and entice dafties to then start paying quadruple the price week on week thereafter?
I mean, either way, it's no bad. It's no bad move. I hope it is more of a long-term thing, that it is to get people excited about the game and create a culture that's more affordable for fans. When I go to games in Bulgaria, their tickets are about £6 which is about maybe £2.50, and it's packed. And what you do see is you see families coming out. You see the granddad and the son and the grandwains. You see like 3 generations of one family supporting their club now, and bringing them into the Celtic family and that now. I feel bad for a lot of friends, friends and family of mine back home still that can't afford to go to games, can't afford to have that moment with their kids, unless you get given a ticket by somebody or that, but they can't afford that stuff. And I think you have to look at what football. So if you're not getting money for them on the tickets, there's still lots of ways you can make money from fans if you create a fan experience.
But here's what I think, Liam, though. I'm going to cut in, right? I'm going to tell you why this won't work. From their point of view. Not because it won't work, because I'm going to let you give us your idea. But I'm going to be the chairman of, I don't know, one of these clubs, right? You pick your SPFL club. I'm the chairman of it right now. And I go, no. But Liam, we've done this for years. Here's our average season ticket sales over the last decade, right?
Right.
We get, let's say, 6,000 season ticket holders. I'm making all this up. These are all fucking, theoretically. 6,000 season ticket holders based on the price we've got. So we know when we go to Stephen Robinson, here's what money's left over for you to spend. We can't leave it to chance, pal. We can't, and that is the problem. No one's willing to be forward thinking, take a gamble, and believe there actually is a wider fan base, a larger football fan base in Scotland than maybe any other country in the world that can make your club go from staying here to going up to there. I believe one of them, if Hibs are like even sort of shining a light on this, they maybe should then look at themselves, look at their season tickets and go, all you've done ever is protect your expected revenue. You've never got a speculated revenue because you refuse to take a risk. Yet you might be surprised by the positive results if you do. I'll go back to you because obviously you've got these other forward way thinkings where they'll make the money back up.
Aye, but you've got to speculate to accumulate. You have to go out there and create and basically do a chance. If it's not working one way, then you have to try another way. Because those 3 teams right now, they're not surviving. And when I look at, the reason I mentioned my Bulgarian club, because that stadium's no bigger than a McDermott Park or anything, the one I go to in Plovdiv. It's small. It's maybe about 25,000 people. But it's sold out all the time because they make the tickets so that you don't price the fans out. And you can't afford to there because it's not like a big economy. Now, to do that in Scotland, it's a team like St Johnstone could do that, no problem.
Why
and I think
not?
what you do is you have to support that by creating a culture and an experience around your brand.
Of course.
So you want to go and you want to make it easy for people. Okay, so if I need to change...
Liam, do they not get more ambitious with this stuff, pal? Do they not get more ambitious with this stuff the more numbers they see? See, when you're just limiting yourself and you're ceiling in the number of fans, right? St Livingston have got, 1,500 season ticket holders. But they need that because that's their gross, that is the body of their ticket money. And they need that because they rely on that for all their budgeting, all their player, they need that. However, as you say, see when you start seeing that 1,500 become 3,000, okay, you might only be making the same money. But now start looking at how ambitious you're getting with other wee ideas. And I'll let you carry on with fan zones and stuff because I know where you're going. I could hear it.
Well, it's not just fan zones and that. It's actually having a deliberate and an intent to actually deliver a fan experience. And I
Yes.
think Scottish football go out their way to do the negative of that. They make it very uncomfortable for you to be there. Everything from, policing to stewarding and, and things like, and even like some of the obstructed views that you see in Scottish stadiums, even at Celtic Park, it's like fucking criminal, like paying money for a seat like that, I think you have to look at, clubs like these. That's why I never get bothered when people say, they'll give us the Champions League argument, oh, we're minnows there financially. Yeah, we are minnows financially, but I also look at when we play in Scotland as well, they're minnows financially. But you know what? They think like minnows. That's the thing.
Totally,
Their
mate.
projection is to be small.
Protect Liam, what we've got. Protect the pishy wee. See the pishy wee cake I've got, right? I'm bringing a wee pishy wee, a fucking tea cake to the party, right? But you ain't touching my tea cake because I know I can sell it for £1, right? And you're like, why not bring a fucking wedding cake, boy? Say, what if nobody likes the wedding cake? That'd cost me a fortune. And you're like, I don't give a fuck, mate. I guarantee folk will buy it. If you sell each slice far less than that £1 that you're selling that one tea cake for, watch it fly. Strangest analogy I've ever done. But I know where I'm going, mate. I know where I'm going with that, though. Like,
come on, nobody loves wedding cake more than us, boys. We've got married a few times.
mate, I don't think I'm ever going to love anything ever again after today. I'm done with love. Just done with love. Done with love. Like, it's so true. They are totally missing the point. Hibs fans have proved it. Make our product affordable. We will come and watch you play against shitey St Johnstone. Shitey St Johnstone. No one cares about watching St Johnstone in Edinburgh, mate. Nobody cares. Unless it is that price. I'll come and watch them play St Johnstone. Now, if they'd done it with a Celtic Rangers game, it would have disguised it, would have masked over it a bit because you'd have went, well, maybe it'd have been busy that day anyway. But if they can sell out and they're breaking 33-year-old records, mate, to play at home at St Johnstone with a wanker of a manager and a dodgy team, I think they're opening avenues. As I say, Alan McInally in Germany, in Bayern, in München, look what they've done. Look how that league, every game you go to is a sellout because it's affordable for the average Joe, mate. And I've never known a time right now where you turn on the news and even if you're doing all right financially, you probably think you're no, because every headline's about the cost of living crisis, right? Obviously, I know you're in Canada. But in the UK, that is, you're conditioned to think you're skint, right? Straight away. So where the fuck is folk finding... What is it? Stirling Albion. I'm from Stirling originally. They're £15 a home ticket, mate. $15. I genuinely think that you could get for a shitey seat at Dortmund, you could probably get a ticket for £15. Right? Let's get levels here. So, but what they're doing is protecting what they know, what we know, what we're used to, what we're accustomed to. Well, Scottish football needs to get out of that cage. It totally needs to batter that cage down and go, what do we not know? Because I think particularly with social media and things like that, there never used to be Motherwell Ultras, for example. Now they've got quite a big section at Fir Park. So there's young folk want to go to the football. Let them in. Get them in. See if it's a £5 a head to start with. Maybe for a first season at Motherwell, sign up and you'll get it for a £5 a ticket. Each ticket you buy. Next season it'll go up to the standard pricing, which still, again, bring that right back down to real terms. There's such an open goal there, mate. And would you not love, if you were a TV broadcaster like Sky, to go, do you know what? We've ripped up one TV deal early. We're going to rip up this one as well. You see, every game we've covered, we've actually not only have we covered every game, because Sky haven't done that the last couple of years, we've covered every game, and every game it's been like a carnival, it's like a festival. Look how busy it is. We want to now secure you to 2032. We want to add another 2 years, and we're going to bump it up from 30 million to 40 million, because that is a product we want invested in.
Oh, aye.
It's all fucking connected, isn't it?
And what that'll do as well, that'll just create a better atmosphere in the stadium. There's nothing better. People like watching Celtic games in Europe because we make a lot of noise and we're colourful. And the camera's always on that, and they're always picking up and moments within the Celtic crowd and that's sellable because it looks like you're having fun. It looks like you're one big family. It looks like you're all supporting, the one initiative and that. And I think you'll see that as well, and it'll get more louder and it'll get more boisterous when you got two sets of fans that are big, because we'll not take any less of their guys with us, and that would just make it for a better atmosphere, and as long as it's policed responsibly, what they do.
Liam, you know one of my favourite words. You know
What?
one of my favourite words, pal.
What?
The optics.
Aye.
The optics, Liam. You see two stands that are full. Maybe it is under 12s that got in for a quid. Who gives a fuck? The optics. That place is bouncing, isn't it?
Aye.
Surely, you're a creative guy. You know fine well how it works. This is it. Like, Scotland's going to get left behind. And they're going to continue. And by the way, see, whilst people moan about the Sky deal, that I moaned it first. And I've completely changed my tune. And I bet you there's some people in Sky, based on our European performance this year. I don't mean Celtics, because I think our displays have been good. But in terms of Sligo Rovers knocking out Motherwell, in terms of 7-0 against mid-table AZ Alkmaar in Holland, in terms of Rangers 0 points and a deficit of 15-16 goals, 7-1 against Liverpool. Like, Sky are like, we just bumped that league up. Like, we just added fact. Like, and even though it's small money, doesn't mean they give it away for free, Liam. These are businessmen. They don't just go, oh, well, it'll be nice to Scottish football. There must be a bit of them even looking at that European performance going, Jesus Christ, sort it out. I think right now we all want to blame the fat cats, but they don't want to look within, Liam. Look at your own chairman and go, what are you doing? Because Hibs have just proven it, Liam. The appetite is there. I'll repeat it. St Johnstone. Shitey St Johnstone at home, and it's a 33-year-old record beaten in terms of ticket sales and the speed of the tickets sold. If you can do that with St John's, I mean, they're shite, Liam. They're not an attraction, but yeah, the appetite is there, pal. It's there.
Right. I think we should be moving away from a TV model anyway and into an app model. It just makes so much more sense.
I get.
Buying it up. We've talked, some of the people, I think Mark talked about it, and people like that as well. That's the way for me, where everything's on your phone, your one tab, and that's all your Celtic stuff. Hopefully that'll come. But I wouldn't be surprised. Do you know in the olden days of Celtic TV, they launched that for about 10 years, and maybe even 15. For 15 years, it wasn't compatible with Apple products.
It's fucking embarrassing.
It was PC.
Look at what we were talking about last night, Liam. Now, I wonder what your thoughts are on this. Because you work in the film industry. You understand this gig. Can you believe that Celtic's review of a season they want to celebrate, mate, right, is the Postecoglou thing? They think they're marketing Postecoglou the best of their abilities. I think with the Sydney tournament, kudos. That's fucking clever. And that's $6 million. Right, in the tank. Fair play, Celtic. But if you're going to make a DVD that's kind of the Ange story stroke, we also won the league, by the way, Celtic. How can it only be available via a DVD from the club shop? It's not Blu-ray. It's not available as an online download. It's not part of the Celtic app that we all want to see. I think it's prehistoric stuff that we would slag off a Hibs or a St Johnstone. Do you know what I mean? For it, we would. When
was the last time you bought a DVD of anything? I mean, unless,
I just don't
that's all you've got, or something, you've got no internet. And
a DVD player below your telly. A DVD player below your telly. Just no. I wouldn't have one. It's just cluttering up space.
No, so, I mean, to bring out a DVD, that's just like, I don't know, it's daft.
How's that maximising the revenue?
No, because and it's leaked as well. I mean, I don't know if anybody hasn't watched it online. Some other place. There's about 4 or 5 guys on YouTube that are hosting it right now. I got about maybe 20 minutes through it, and then, other people said it as well. It's all stuff I'd seen before of Ange. Aye, all right, here's a picture of his that. Here's a picture of that. I was wanting to see more of like. Okay,
you know what they did, Liam? Do you know what they did? They're so transparent, right? Honestly, these guys think, look at the buy-in for Ange, and we've talked about it on the bus. You can't slag Ange. He's everyone's favourite uncle. Yada yada. They go too far, right? However, The thing is, Celtic at that transfer, they go, Ange, we could cash in on Ange, couldn't we? So they turned the season review into like Ange's bio almost. I'm like, this is just like you're just treating folk for fools, but they're just reading Twitter. They're reading this loving for this guy, right? And he's an amazing manager, but the lovings went that far, right? I think genuinely Celtic went, just give them Ange content. The wee dafties will buy it. I guarantee they'll buy it. But I think with it only being in that format, Liam, that's where I don't know as much about it as the likes of yourself. But I think just judging by my own as a consumer, I think of, you know, I watched, for example, the US Open I watched on Amazon Prime. You know, the Sunderland Till I Die documentary I was talking about, I watched on Netflix.
Right.
Sky, who are about to change to Sky Stream. Everything will be streamed by them. Obviously, they've got the Sky Glass product right now. That's all going to change to Sky Stream very soon. BT Sport, if you actually have BT TV, which many people might not be familiar with, BT TV is actually, despite the big silly TV box they send out, is all run through your broadband. So it's effectively a streaming service. It just wasn't a very clever one, if you know what I mean, because it still required the box. Whereas I dare say in the next year or two, that'll just be an app as well. BT Sport will just be a streaming app if you want to have BT TV as such. It'll just be, use your smart telly to find it. Celtic is still releasing 2022 season reviews, which I think they've got a marketing goldmine in Ange Postecoglou, and I think they know that. Yeah, they're selling it just
The easy way to do that would be to make it as like £1.99, maybe £2.99, and just put it on a streaming service, as you said. You just pay like $2, but you'll get people all over the world doing it. And for that type of, like Louis C.K., he proved that as well. He did that 20 years ago or 10 years ago. He took all his product and just put it onto a streaming platform that he owned, and he figured, okay, well, I'll get people who donate $5 for it. And if you want to donate $5, I really appreciate it, but this is how I make my money in that. Celtic can do the same thing. There's people that would pay, I would pay $3, $5, whatever for us. And even if I only watched 20 minutes, I wouldn't feel ripped off. If I bought a DVD,
I think you're playing it down. I think you get more than even a couple of dollars, mate. But we've got to go with some of the best comments because it is meant to be the night we bring in the comments. Right, so I'm going to go with the funny ones. But if you do have a talking point for us, time to get them in now, guys. And Liam won't mind cutting on for another 10, 15 minutes. I'm enjoying myself. But when the Tim says he watched it last night on YouTube, funny that, right? Paul Gilston, who's got a fucking DVD player. The board are still using Ronnie dial-up. Kaiser says he just got the LP from the Celtic audiobook. Paul Byatt heard the board were trying to do a deal with C&A. Remember the code? Egyptian King says our boardroom at Celtic are using Windows XP for fuck's sake. I just think that is good. But the board are counting transfers with an abacus. I mean, it's so
always
mad.
been that Celtic. I mean, we've all experienced that over in Canada. See, trying to get Celtic gear and stuff sent over, or see when you see Celtic, they come over on one of their tours and they talk about, oh, this is a big deal for us. So I've seen them down in Seattle, I've seen them in New York, I've seen Celtic in Toronto. They never bring merchandise with them. They never bring. There's never a fan zone. There's absolutely nothing. You might get a supporters club.
I heard at St Andrew's Square in the summer there was a pop-up store,
Okay.
With a real celebrity Celtic fans, It was the status sign. I can't remember what it was called. I think there was a pop-up store there, mate, but I don't think they were buying.
Oh, was it Philadelphia, maybe? Is it Philly?
No, St Andrew's Square, mate. The wee fella set up a pop-up store when he'd be there. Because there was someone trying to speak poetry, calling folk thing me. Right. Ryan Taylor, I love this. He says, what did you make of the Ange and Kyogo loving at the end? I don't know about you, Liam. I think Kyogo gets, I think deservedly so because of the standards he created for himself. Celtic will always be a tough school, right? Never let it be an easy school. This is not waters that, for people that can't swim should be able to swim in. This is meant to be choppy waters the whole time you're at Celtic. And it's when you look back, you go, how great was that? How great was it I achieved? I swam in those shores and I actually had my head held high. Kyogo's had some criticism, but they're because of the standards he set last year himself. No one else's fault. See if he's not reaching them, we're going to call for the other striker to play. Chaos. But one thing about Kyogo, he's done. I don't know if you've seen the footage of him at the end. And and then he just goes, on you go yourself. And he does the whole on his own.
Aye.
I think that is infectious to me. And I do admire the fact that Kyogo's bought in like that. I don't think a guy with an ego, normally if Kyogo's ability that we bring in, who has a dip in form, has competition for his jersey, I'm not convinced they're all that apoplectic, is that the word? When they see the fans and going out and prepare to almost not make a fool of yourself, but take the piss at yourself in a weird way. And I just think that shows you've got a guy at the peak of his powers. Remember Kyogo. I know some of you in the viewers like that. Kyogo. He's about to enter his peak years. He's 27, 28 now. You know, he wants to spend them at Celtic. He wants the fans on side. That to me is infectious, Liam. I'm all for it.
I mean, he might be looking at, as we're looking at the, like Shinsuke Nakamura just retired this week as well.
I've seen that 44.
All right, so he's still wearing near the legendary as what Nakamura is, and so he still has to get that. He has to get to that level. And I think what Ange done, send him out there, that was man management. But you can see he's a wee bit of a sensitive player, and I think he's probably more inside of his head. And I think Ange
wanted the love again. He wanted the love, and Ange knew you need it. And he's looking at the fans that have arrived at a game, 6:15 kickoff, right? That is not a normal time for the working man to be able to get to an away ground. Ange is looking at that full stand who've signed their hearts out all night, and Ange goes, "They'll fancy it, mate. On you go." And he's doing two things. He's giving the fans that they want, but he's going, Kyogo's going to get that wee bit of ego trip that he needed, mate. But I just thought he does it with so much, he's like, I don't know, he looks like a 12-year-old laddie when he's doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's bouncing about. He's like his birthday party or something. Do you know what I mean?
He's like a wee kid. He's like a wee kid. Like he seems a lot younger than what he is.
He's one of the elder statesmen of the team.
Well, we'll see how he plays in the next game. But you never know. Ange might drop him. You never know. Ange has got his team these days. There'll be big chaos up front. I was worried what he was doing holding his back.
Mate, he's injured all the time. I think he is carrying something, and I think any twinge or feeling of pain he gets, he panics. That's what I'll say. We're going to go Scott Cameron's point, and brilliant to have you back on the bus, Scott, my boy. He says, do you think Abada is the other option up front, though? Because he is deadly in the box. He's also a first-time finisher. Liam, I was talking about that earlier on in the show. It's weird, because I don't think it's fair to specialise in the wing positions. Like Ange has clearly done, he has stockpiled positions he obviously knows he's got an eye for, right? I think as a centre-forward, we deserve a different centre-forward, a third centre-forward that we don't have in the squad. Do I think, though, Abada could play up there, Scott? Yes. I think his finishing is excellent. But I'd be disappointed if that was the attitude. After January, if January window shuts and we've now not signed a third-choice striker, I think I'm definitely looking at the squad in a different way than the manager, which probably I'm doing half the time anyway, Liam, to be fair. But you know what I mean? I think it's highlighted. See, when you see, as you say, chaos, right? He looks like he might have had a knock there. It nearly was the two of them, remember, at the weekend. It was nearly the two of them going off injured. Who's the other? So, okay, it's Abada. But then if Abada's shite, we go, he was makeshift anyway. Well, I don't want that excuse. Getting a third-choice striker. Do you see us getting a third-choice striker in January? Not necessarily a third choice, a third striker, I should say.
Well, I mean, we had extra strikers. Well, we had a Jetty's actually scoring right now in Austria, whatever I see as, which is great, good for him. And I'm not saying he was the answer, But I feel we needed one. And, you know, the obvious answer was Jordan Larson. That was marquee. That was like giving the fans something big there. I mean, there was a no losing that one. I mean, Larson merely losing us. You know, we just had to push that one out. If it didn't work out, then
those
you
jerseys
got it quick and don't make it linger on, you know.
That away jersey, which we all know is a peach, with Larson 7 or Larson, whatever number it is, actually, Matt, the number. As I always said at the time, I mean, you just get Henrik in the grey suit, you get Ange in whatever jumper he wants to wear, and Jordan. Do you know what I mean? You get Ange at one side, Henrik at the other, and Jordan in the middle holding the jersey. I'm talking like record-breaking sales, shirt sales. Yeah. He was a free transfer, Liam. But the moment's gone now, and we are going to repeat. We're repeating ourselves a wee bit on it. I can't help it though, because I agree with you so much on it. I honestly, I do.
I want to see us sign a big brute. I want to see another physical.
Another brute.
Another one. Somebody
can like Hartson when he joined City.
Aye.
When Hartson joined City, and you went.
Aye, because I think with Abada, you've got somebody small. You've got Mayada. All these guys can go into the middle, and they're all certain build. And again, the first touch, but another big bruiser that will come in there, win the ball in the air, being able to take advantage of some of these balls that are coming in from the wing now, which is good. I mean, not as many last night, but I think when Ralston and Bernabei were playing, those balls are getting whipped in for the side at speed, and we were looking dangerous at that point. I didn't see that as much coming last night. Juranovic or Taylor did well for the goal. I'll give him his due.
He did,
What?
He did do all right, mate. He did do all right. This is the beauty of the bus, though, mate. We've got to just sometimes go. Like Moy, I mean, Moy's killing me there, Liam. Like every week I go and I need to go. And you've told everyone you're honest, boys. You've told everyone, God bless your cat. You've told everyone you're honest. I've told the cat I'm an honest guy. And I'm like, Aaron Moy, you were good today. I'm like, bastard. But you've got to call it as you see it. And if you don't like Taylor for whatever reason, I like your reasoning for it. But you also can't deny he has done well recently. He has, though.
He's done well. Yeah, he's done okay, but he's still, like, I look at last night, it's like the guy in the team that gets the most improved player trophy. It's the guy who washes the strips up, picks up the goalie or your best player or something. Yeah,
do you think what Matt Daly's asking, do you think Bernabei could fully challenge him for the spot? I've liked what I've seen. I think Bernabei was written off far too early. This is a laddie. Right, a wee boy who's clearly maybe a wee bit more immature than, like we were saying earlier, Matt O'Reilly, right? Who came in as a very mature 21-year-old. Maybe Bernabei is a 20-year-old who's, like me, daft as a brush, right? Made mistakes off the park. This guy needs to settle. First guy we've ever signed Argentinian. Is it straight from the Argentinian league? So let's be honest here. This isn't a common path that he's trodden here. This is different. He's had time. Greg Taylor's form's made that easier to palate. And yet, Bernabei now, do you know what vibes he's giving me with those balls? Not his balls. well, I don't know about his balls, right? But see the balls he's putting in the box? I think they're Izagiri-esque. I think there's a South American feel to those wee balls that get whipped. I fucking give up, man. Even when I'm talking, it's parody. But the assists, let's call them assists. The assists he's done for Giakoumakis 2 games in a row remind me a wee bit of Emilio's first phase at Celtic under Lenny.
Aye. Do you know he was offered to just go on Emilio Zaguera just to jump?
Yeah.
I was at a Toronto FC game once, and remember when Mo Johnson was their manager at the time, and so I was up in the box, and somebody said, "Do you want to come and meet Mo Johnson?" And I all right, and came and I talked to him for a wee bit, and I started talking to him and the other guy that was with him, and he was telling me that Emilio Zaguera was offered to Toronto FC. He'd played against Canada with Honduras, and they had scouted him. And it was Mo Johnson that recommended him to Celtic. And I think we ended up we bought him for 500 and something thousand.
He's a giddy, it was 450.
Was it 450? He was offered to Toronto FC.
Phil had that at £3 million. No, that'll be £3 million on Nostalgia. in a few weeks' time.
The Phil's bus. He was offered to them for about something like 50 grand. He was offered to Scotland FC for about 50 grand. The price went up when he came to Scotland.
And did you see something about Hibs there?
No.
No, because remember Elises de la Cruz?
Aye.
McLeish signed him for Hibs. I think they broke their transfer record. They paid 700 grand for him. He was a South American, Ecuadorian, probably the first Ecuadorian to play in Scotland. And I was pals at that time with John Docherty, Daily Record journalist's son. And I remember saying, like, I used to be into his house all the time. We went on holiday and all that. He was sound as anything, man. Well, I'm sure he still is sound as anything. But I was like, is that not a lot of money for Hibs? And he says, that market is untapped by Scottish clubs. He goes, 700 grand. He goes, he'll go. I'm sure he said to me, he'll go for about 5 times that in a year. And I think it was maybe 2 years it took, but he went to Aston Villa and he was an ever present for Villa for about 3 years in a row in the Premier League. I think they paid about $2.5 million for him.
So
it's a market that's definitely.
It'll be interesting this year to keep an eye on the World Cup. I think Iran's a good team to watch it as well. Ange has had conversations before about signing players for the Iranian league. Somehow, yes. I think because Australia get them in their group stages or something at one point, or I'm not sure what the relationship is, but there might be some really good value there as well, and it'll be interesting to watch the World Cup and see maybe there's our next strikers. Maybe we're waiting for somebody to just play that game in the World Cup and then take a big chance and come to Scotland and get resettled.
Do you think that magic can still happen though, Leo? I remember, obviously, I don't want to get overzealous, but I mean, obviously we know when O'Neill joined. I mean, when Martin O'Neill joined, it obviously kind of at the time. I've got commitments to the BBC though it was the Euro 2000, so he then comes away for that tournament and tells Celtic, sign Joss Verhaeren, sign him. 3.7 million, I think he cost. And you're going, that's quite bold. Like, firstly, that you've not been in the training ground for day one, yet you were let off with it because you're Martin O'Neill. The real. See if you want to, like, hang me, like, fucking start with him, right? And then you work your way down after that. But he's came back for a tournament, as you're saying, like a World Cup, which is about to happen, and identified someone. However, that was 22 years ago, Liam. My concern now would be, see if Andrew's scouted one player at that tournament, so have 75 million other scouts. For every EPL team, even if it's their B team scout, they can offer more money than Celtic. Do you know what I mean? Man City's reserve scouts out there looking for future. We think we found a gem, and yet it turns out he's had 14 calls after that game. It's not as easy. It's weird now, eh? Like it's open. It's open sesame, and I just think it's a shame. Because I think a lot of players, I bet you there's so many players at the likes of Chelsea, Man City recently that have never made it. We don't even know about them. And yet could have been fucking greats at certain other clubs. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
They've just been lost.
That's part of the luck of being a professional football player as well. You get guys. I remember my pal telling me Julian was the captain of the French under 19 team or something that won the World Cup.
I've said it on the show before, right? Liam, I've said it on the show before. I'm like, not because I'm pals, because he's a journalist for goal.com. I knew him as we were growing up. He played squash. I played a bit of squash. We played football together. But he's the French football journalist for goal.com. Fucking unbelievable. A local lad, right? So he's got about 40,000 followers or whatever on Twitter. I think goal.com's got 5 million followers on Twitter. But he is the Ligue 1, as they call it, correspondent. So I got in touch with him about Julian. He says, you heard Celtic are about to sign Chris Julian. I went, I signed him on Championship Manager, and he was shit hot. I went, is that a sign? But he wrote back, he goes, Boise, this is a player. This guy was the number 1 defender in Ligue 1 based on, like, again, those stats we were talking about earlier. He goes, he should do, with a good manager, very well at Celtic. He's a good manager at Celtic.
That's always a bizarre one for me, because that must have been an attitude thing, because I'll look at where we were when we were struggling without CCV. I just wanted to see one game with him and CCV together. Just
and
one.
I think Ange, do you not think that was stubborn on Ange's part? There's no way Chris Julian's not good enough to play in that team. I still say it now. I've watched Jens, I've watched Starfelt, and we've got loads of evidence on them both now. And we've got loads of evidence on Julien. I would say Julien for me would be better than the other two. That's my honest opinion.
Aye, and especially in their new team as well, the way we set up now, more opportunities for him to score. And I thought he was always good. He was always good at getting on the score sheet. He was great in the air for us. I could have seen him scoring a few goals, but
it's weird. He never got that opportunity. But it's a good talking point because I think Ange, we were talking about it last night. I think he really knows how to cut certain situations from emotional to ruthless. And I think that is, going forward, that is essential at a club like Celtic. It separates. And that's what frustrates me about the fans sometimes. Because I go, I don't think you're judging people or players or managers fairly because you're emotionally drawn to them. I think Ange is quite good at going, fuck the emotional stuff.
Oh.
But then it gives you examples where you go, wait a minute.
Right.
But other examples, he doesn't show that, and I kind of admire that bit.
I think he does it when it suits him, like that wee thing with Diogo the other night was there, and then it's like you're getting plenty of this, but you're getting none of that. Like the whole, the way we've went with Aaron Moy and we got McCarthy, which I thought was pretty well the exact same player.
He seems to be getting more game time now, Liam.
The other one's not had much time at all.
Well, do you think James McCarthy's getting more game time now than he was last season?
Aye. I think he's played more this year than I've seen him all year last year.
And you're trying to get your head around it. And that's what we were talking last night about the trajectory for certain players. And I've got to admit, at times, I don't like I'm not trying to be a prick about it, but I'm like, and I don't really see the steady progress. And I think he's very good at managing players' morales. I think he's good at, sort of taking them on that, stepping stones to get in, becoming first team regulars. And yet there's other ones that you go, fucking hell. Like he's in, out. He must not know what's happening. People's confidence could be getting thrown about all over the place. I think there's certain players he knows he can get away with. Right?
I think that's it. He's big on personality, isn't he? So he always talks about how much of the player's personality he delves into before he signs them as well. And so I think he looks at players that can be not programmed, but can be coerced into certain ways of, just sort of like finding their own value in the team. That, okay, you're only going to play this much money, this much minutes, but this is how important it is here's your role, and it's that. And if they can find an acceptance that they're happy with that role and they can find significance in it, that's perfect for them. And if he's a man that can motivate them that way, then I guess we're fine. And, we're probably just reading too much into it because emotionally, if I was
that's
playing...
That's our gift, though.
That's what?
That's our gift to do that. We're allowed to read into everything too emotionally. That's what we do.
Mate, the daft decisions I've made in my life, like to get to Celtic games.
It's mental.
It not make sense.
Hey, you're breaking up there, Liam.
No, I think that was you, Ross. It was you.
What was it?
You went.
Well, I never heard the words you said, so go repeat it just for my benefit, if that's all right.
No,
does it matter? Sorry, mate.
Let's just get wired into the other questions.
Let's
this is a shambles anyway.
Sorry, mate.
It's good.
Right, here's a talking point, guys. Says Paul Gilston. Good to have you back on the bus, Paul, as always. And he says, would you prefer to get through to the Europa or rather not get into the Europa League, i.e., would you rather finish fourth in the Champions League group and just concentrate in the league? I think it could be a hindrance back to playing on Thursday nights and Sundays. Liam, I'm going to give you my quick takeaway on that.
Right.
For me, there's no hindrance. No hindrance playing midweek and weekend. That's what big clubs do. And if it's a Thursday, it's because you failed at becoming a Tuesday or Wednesday club. So that should strive you even more to becoming a Tuesday, Wednesday midweek club, season in, season out. The Thursday should be a timely reminder of where you still need to get to on a European level. And if you think you are that good, those Thursday nights should be fun because you should be actually thinking, we can compete, we can win a trophy here. Liam, I'm all for us. If we make the Europa League this year and we were to actually do what I think the team's good enough to do, I think we'll win the league anyway.
I think if you look across society, you look at Rangers, I think them being in the UEFA Cup actually made them better towards the end of the year because, at one point they were just hanging on and then they managed to build a confidence through that. I mean, we still battered
Of course they did.
But all of a sudden they had confidence and they were playing on momentum, which is such a huge thing. And I think we need that as well. And it will give, because we've got such a big squad, because we've got so many guys that are no getting a full game and that. I'm not saying give them a run out in UEFA, but there's certainly many of opportunities for them to get some more game time and playing time and get themselves a shop window, whatever they want to do it,
This squad doesn't get better by not being in Europe. Whatever level the competition, it makes no odds. If we manage to scrape third place, and I know to do that will be it's unlikely, it'd be very difficult to do so. See, if we were to, I would be absolutely doing cartwheels, mate, because I think it improves us. It improves the mentality. Play that knockout phase game. And you know what? Show me you've learned from last season, the Bodo Glimt fiasco. Show me you've learned from it. Go and fucking win one. Go win a knockout game for the first time for the club in what is it? What's the stat? 18 years.
Aye.
That's wild for a club like Celtic. So I've got to be honest. If European football midweek, no matter what the day is, distracts for you getting the bread and butter league done, then you're at the wrong football club. Because when you sign for Celtic, it should be a prerequisite. It's big European games, even bigger league games, or vice versa, however you want to describe it. Do you know what I mean? I think that's how you got Larsson's invested for 7 years. I think that, do you know what I mean? I think that's how these guys stuck, because they went, everywhere you turn, it's Valencia midweek, and then even though it's St Johnstone away, the world's in panic if we don't beat them. So everyone's stressed, and I think that elevates your performance. Do you know what I mean?
I think that comes, round about the Christmas window. That gets players excited about coming to Celtic. You look at some of the teams we play against. What would that guy last Christmas? Was it Riley McGee knocked us back for Middlesbrough? And then we got O'Reilly, but it was McGee we were after. And it just shows you. I mean, like, he obviously wasn't the right type of player, because a good player would be looking at going, oh no. If you just looked at this team's playing for a Champions League berth this year, I could be playing in Champions League next year, and ended up, even if we came in second, I think we'd have still been in Champions League, But
we will. My biggest worry. We'll do one last point, Liam, with you, right? Because I appreciate we've ran over, and I appreciate your time, big man. I know you're busy. But see, when it comes to the European side of things, right? My opinion, I don't know. I'm sure you will agree with me. But as far as I'm concerned, to attract Jotas of the world to the club, and more Jotas, by the way, this is the thing. Don't look at signing Jota as we got a coup. Let that become the norm. Players that ability. But the only way to do that is if you're dining at that top table. But not just dining at it, competing at it. Now, Ange is very defiant. He's very defensive. And he explains to anyone, we have competed. Forget the points. I think that's... If I was him, I would do the same. Put it that way. But if I was a young player and I looked at the points and went, you were out after 4 games, and it was the first time you've been in that tournament in 5 years, don't sell me you're a Champions League club, big boy, because that's bullshit. And I think a player would be, would be fair to take that tact. However, we may well find ourselves under Postecoglou winning at least one of the next 2 games. I wouldn't be surprised if we get sent for Real Madrid, right? Just because I think the shackles are off. It'll not matter to them, and it might matter to us, and we might just do something. And if we were to get that third place in the group, I think that's so much more of a selling point to a future player come summer 2023, Liam, when you go, no, we were in a group with Real Madrid and we finished third. We took points at the Bernabeu, the Bernabeu, and we took points there and we went to the Europa League. What did you do in Europa League? Well, we won our first knockout game for 18 years. That's not, that has to be addressed. Celtic's European progress has undeniably hampered the level of ability of player. Not just Celtic have been able to bring in, but even Angie's been able to bring in. And now we expect world beaters of Angie's signings just because they've looked so good domestically. Where really it's almost unfair at times. I can't remember who it was that made the point on the bus. They were like, boys, you're looking for a £1.7 million Maeda. His first ever Champions League campaign just to smash it. Realistically, forget now know who Maeda is. Forget Postecoglou's. Just look at it on paper. Club enters Champions League for first time in 5 years. £1.7 million signing for the J League. Who has bad coordination. Has a belter of a Champions League campaign and scores 5 goals. It's not going to happen like that. It's not going to happen like that. But for the European journey to end so early, I think also negates the actual qualifying for it.
What do you mean? What do you mean negates qualifying for it?
So you're qualifying for it, but you're not really done anything in it. So it dilutes, I should say. The when you're trying to sell Celtic to a potential new player for £6-7 million in the Jota bracket. Well, we were a Champions League last year. Well, where are you though? You were out after 4 games. You got 1 point. Right. Yeah, good point. You've not won a knockout tie in 18 years. Yeah, good point. But realistically, when you look at what we've got, look at the tools we've got, how are we expecting these guys to compete at that level? But I think that won't wash. For the modern player wants to see a sexy team. They want to see you got 8 points in the Champions League. You went out. Their agent's going, they might do things next year. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to work it all out. But
I don't know. Like, I know we're saying there's a big gulf between the Champions League and that, right? But we've got international players that play on our side as well. We've got a Croatian left back. I've been told. He's got a Croatian right back. That gets a game because he plays for Croatia, which is fantastic. So how is that not transferred to Champions League? They've all played against a lot of these players. Some of them play in the same squads as them. So I think we could have done better this year. I think to say that we're not a Champions League team yet I think it's a bit of a cop out. I think there's teams that come in that I see that Rubin Kazan, that Russian team, they used to do pretty well in the Champions League. Teams like Rosenborg, the Bulgarian.
We were competing with the likes of Milan. We were beating teams like Milan with Paul Telfer at right back. Man United we beat with Paul Telfer at right back, mate. He was 36 years old. Barry Robson in midfield, signed for 900 grand for Dundee United. The gulf's always been there. I don't understand why folk think, and I know Ryan signed this guy, by the way, who always watches the show. He's like, I'm coming to terms with accepting we might not make Europa knockouts. But we shouldn't come to terms with that because I think we had as big a disparity when we had Telfer at right back against Zambrotas. We had Pirlo's against 36-year-old Neil Lennon's. We did all this. We still got out our groups. Now it's all about, it's impossible. It's just, Liam, it's just fucking impossible, mate. I don't subscribe to it, but I think Celtic, and I love what Kaiser was saying the other night. I know you enjoyed his show, didn't you? You enjoyed Kaiser being on.
I thought he was brilliant. I had a really good laugh at that.
He was good though as well because he was positive, and I think he made a couple of good points. He was like, I think he's overriding attitude is, this is Celtic. You go in the Champions League to win it. Now, no one thinks we'll actually win it. And I think he was misquoted. Folk going, he said he thought Celtic would win it. That's not what he's saying. Go in with the attitude that you'll win it, though, and you'll get further than you do of accepting third place as being an amazing achievement.
If you're there just to learn, you're going to get schooled. You know what I mean? That's where we need our swagger to show up, is when we go into the Champions League. And I'm not saying we're going to hump Real Madrid, but the way we set up and we played them in the first half, we looked like we were ready to play. And then from that first half on, we slowly lost our confidence that all of a sudden that we don't deserve to be there. And I looked at that first half against Real Madrid. We looked like we deserved to be there. So we just need to get a better than we'll go into Europe, but we need a better than a 60-minute game plan. We need to, Ange, that's great. You can compete them for 60 minutes.
What do you do after 60?
Aye, and it's no a triple substitution and hoping for the best.
When you know you're dropping quality when you're doing it, try to play the same thing, Liam. Eh? That's what he's trying, and I agree with you on that.
I think we should do better in Europe, and I do disagree with Ange on that one. I think our pedigree, I think everything that we've done, we're not this new club finding its way in Europe. We're a fucking cup holder, their names on that cup. So
exactly. It's time to remember that. We're not a postcard. We're not a postcard in Europe. Liam, we're going to leave it there. Phil McGinley has just reminded us, though, as well. Our inbox says we have the notes for tomorrow. Tomorrow night is unmissable. It is the 3rd episode of the Martin O'Neill month. We're having great fun with that, eh? Like, going back to those times it's been class. It's going to be me, you, Phil, and Jonathan Boyce as well. So really looking forward to that. Liam, it's been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant chatting with you tonight, and sound that Clacton a few more times, because the Martin O'Neill month does continue on the Nostalgia series hosted by Phil. Liam is the regular guest on that. I get to now, for a month, I get to now appear every week because I'm just obsessed with Martin O'Neill. And Jonathan, the Monday Club legend, he's joining us as well. Liam, anything you want to add before we go?
I want to say hello to my pal Richie Colley, who's in Edinburgh Infirmary right now, recovering from his triple bypass. This guy's one of my best pals. I've known him in Toronto, Glasgow, and comes to visit me in Bulgaria. And I wish you all the best, pal. I'll see you soon. We'll be sitting in Cabana, Zandak, whiskies.
Thinking of you as well, big man, from everyone on the bus. Thanks to everyone in the comments. That is what the forum is all about. It's been a brilliant Thursday night. It's been an emotional day for me. I appreciate everyone's contributions, because I've actually just had an hour and a half of forgetting all about the shite of day-to-day life. I'll tell you one guy who never struggled with the shite of day-to-day life, Chris Sutton. Good night.
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.